Hey everyone, welcome to our virtual open house. My name is Mrs. McNeil. I'm going to be your art teacher. I also teach family life science, digital photography, and for this year, drama. I'm outside the building right now and I'm going to give you a tour to and in the art room. But first, I gotta put on my mask. Let's get going. Once you enter the building, you are going to go straight past the office. You're then going to round the corner, wave hello, and enter the wild and crazy world of the art room. Look at our great mural we finished this summer. Once you get into my room, you will see that we have the room laid out to the COVID guidelines. Students are currently seated 3 feet apart via the blue dots. And if for any reason we need to go to yellow, we will be seated 6 feet apart via the orange dots. I've tried to keep things as same as possible in my room. It'll be a little tricky this year with supplies. I will be handing things out. But in case they need to know, all supplies are usually labeled brightly on their doors. Students help with washing and wash their own paintbrushes, cups, etc., which we'll be dismissing to the sink one by one. Gotta be honest, this is definitely a challenge in COVID times for an art teacher. It is going to be tricky managing supplies, but I'm confident that I can do it. I plan to tackle this by having a clean and dirty bin, and whenever students use supplies like scissors that we need to share, they will be decontaminated before another student uses them. I'm also preparing to have supply bags to give out to the majority of my Art 1, Art 2 students. But if you want some nicer supplies or a stronger sketchbook, I strongly encourage you to purchase one. You can find them at Walmart, at Hobby Lobby, or online. Also important in my classroom is the sketchbook pass-in and graded bin. Makeup work will also be available in the bins in case I'm not here or in case you just need an extra copy. I'm now going to take some time to go over the general syllabus for my classroom so you know what's going on. Feel free to stop by the art room and say hi any chance you get. We'll decontaminate, use a little sanitizer, and you can come in the door. Welcome to the art room. Anybody who already knows me knows that I'm definitely not a technological genius. So bear with me if some of my recordings and displays aren't as bougie as some of the other teachers. I'm learning as I go, and I think I've definitely learned a lot. I'd like to go over my art syllabus today. This basic information pertains to most of my art classes, so feel free to apply it if you're in drama, digital photography, and even my family life science classes. So first of all, as you can see, and if you've seen around the school, Bob Ross is kind of a special friend of mine. And he says, every day is a good day to be alive. The majority of my classes focus on the elements of art and the principles of design. You'll learn more about these. We try to use a variety of materials, explore art history, art criticism, and create some really cool things. I really strive on making this a place where you put down the iPad, you put down the cell phones, and you make something with your hands. It's a lot of fun. You will have 2 types of assignments. Formative, which are smaller, content-driven, like sketchbooks, quizzes, or handouts, and they'll be graded via a standard rubric. You can find this in your Google Classroom materials folders, and will also be given out in classes. We'll then have our large projects, which include any big creations that we make in class, a test, or a finals, and this is a summative grade. And this will be graded utilizing McNeil's art rubric, which again will be handed out in class and you can also find in your Google materials. If an assignment is not complete, any assignment, a student receives an ink. All inks must be completed before a student receives credit for the course. Credit, you say? This doesn't apply to the 7th and 8th grade, but it does to the high school. Let's go over your credits while we're talking about it. You need 26 total credits for a high school diploma. 2.5 of those need to be art credits. 5.5 need to be elective credits. Your art credits and courses like Family Life Science can count for your elective credits. So let's head back up here. Cell phones are a little different in the art classroom. When I'm starting the class or giving a project introduction, cell phones are to be away. I don't talk a lot in class. I give an introduction to a project, we learn a little bit about an artist or about an art genre, and then you have what we call studio time. So when I'm talking or when I'm giving directions, it's really important that you listen, and that cell phone is away. During studio time, cell phones may be used to listen to music, but only music. That means no snap in the chats, no Netflix, and no TikTok challenges. When you're asked to Google, research, or take a picture of your work, you may do so on your cell phone. If that's easier for you and your cell phone has more advanced camera options or has a more storage and more options than our school iPads, you can use them. Doesn't bother me. All right, classroom procedures. Start of class. Go to the bathroom before you get here. Don't come here, put your stuff down, leave. It's going to be really tricky for me to figure out who's here, who's not, etc. Try to be on time. Find your seat and then put away that cell phone. During studio time, you need to follow instructions. You need to manage your time. No willy-nilly walking around and wasting time. Use materials correctly. We're going to discuss that a little bit more in a minute. And work hard and do your best. At the end of class, clean up when prompted. I like to say to the students, I ain't your mama. You need to clean up after yourself. This is definitely different than in a lot of other classes. It is nobody's job to clean out your paint palette, to clean up your desk area. Stay seated, no bunching up thinking you're going to the door, especially right now. And if you have some extra time and you're done with your project, a lot of you have work that you can work on for my classes, like your sketchbook. Art 1 and 2 classes will need pencils, a sketchbook, colored pencils, and an eraser. It doesn't hurt to have these materials if you're in any of my other classes, especially at the beginning of the year, as our first project for all my classes will be art related. If you are absent, it is your responsibility to speak to the teacher about what you missed. It is not my job to hunt you down to make sure you get your makeup work. You can send an email or send a request for RTI using the Edge-a-Sketch program. I'm hoping to get a little bit more explanation about how that's going to work this year. We've been told that we are going to be able to RTI students for Wednesday. More information on that later. Extra handouts are stored in the bin that I showed you when I gave the room tour, besides the sketchbook pass-in bin. All work and information materials will be posted in the Google Classrooms. Again, like I said, RTI will be scheduled with the Edge-a-Sketch program, and I need a little bit more information on that. Hey, why don't we all just get our work in on time and we won't have to worry about it? Safety. This is a little different in the art classroom. I'm attaching a contract to every student's syllabus that they will need to read and sign. I would also like the parents to sign it. Students need to be safe and use tools correctly in this room or we won't be able to use them anymore. On this handout, I'm also collecting cell phone numbers and emails just in case we have to go remote so I can have that information in hand. It is crucial for me to be able to contact students and their parents to make sure they know what's going on. Classroom donations. Hey, if you want to help me out, I can always take some great donations. In these COVID times, if you're doing a little extra cleaning and maybe you came across some of those old craft projects supplies you have, I'd love them. Let me know they're coming, bring them into the office, we'll let them sit for a while,
and then I'll be able to put them to use. Some of you are going to be distance learning. It's important that both you and your parent understand that if we are asked to practice distance learning, students are required to complete all work assigned in order to receive credit for the course. If it is your job to communicate with your teacher if you are having trouble understanding or accessing any assignments. Assignments will be distributed via Google Classroom, and students will get an introduction to that within My Classroom. Each student will be instructed on how to access the application as soon as iPads are distributed. All grades and inks will be inputted into our program, PowerSchool, that we've used in the past. Students and parents should log into and check PowerSchool to monitor your students' assignments completion. This is where the grades go, and this is where you can tell whether your student has done their work or not. All other communication will be done via email. Teachers will have daily office hours utilizing Google Meets for students to encourage to visit, connect, and ask any questions. It is very important that you teach your students to check their email. We hear all the time that, oh, I didn't check my email. This is an important and crucial way for us to communicate about the classroom. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. And I look forward to seeing all my students this school year. It's going to be crazy, but it'll be great.